Hello, guys, and welcome back to my channel. Hope you guys are doing well. And I'm making this video basically to talk about the formation of an off-grid TI community. I know that I've talked about this already twice. I made two videos, two different two-part videos on the formation of an off-grid TI community. I think that as far as gang stalking is concerned, this is the best solution that we can go for. If you really want the gang stalking to stop, if you want to get away from the gang stalking, this is the best thing that we can do. I know that it might be difficult for a lot of people to conceive of this idea to live in a remote location in the wilderness. But if you think about it, what else can we do to get away from the gang stalking? Because anywhere that you are in the grid, and by that I mean in a city or a metropolitan area or a village, you're going to be targeted no matter where you go. So for this reason, to get out of the civilization, so to speak, and to form our own off-grid TI community would be a way to make sure that we are not harassed. And I have confirmed this myself. So I told you guys that I have done 3 separate trips where I walked about 1,000 kilometers between Germany and France. I've done this 3 times, like I said. And what I noticed was that I found many places which were quite isolated and far away from any paths or roads or any grid, where people just wouldn't come. I would be there by myself. Nobody would come to bother me. Nobody would come to harass me. All right, guys? There's a lot of places like that. I've had this experience multiple times. I remember, for example, one day there was like a sort of like a small village nearby, and I sort of just walked away from the village for a couple of kilometers, and there was this like big forest. It's not a huge forest, but it's a big forest, and there was no paths to it. So I just went in an area where there were no paths, no walking path, and I just pitched my tent there, and nobody would come. I was by myself. Nobody came. Nobody bothered me. Nothing happened. It's actually pretty cool. I remember I was sitting in my tent, and in the middle of the night, this boar comes up like really, really close to my tent. And I open the flap of the tent and I look at him, and he's like literally like 1 meter away. And he's like looking me in the eyes. That was actually a pretty cool moment. But yeah, multiple times I found myself in places that were quite remote in the wilderness where there was no path or road or anything, and people just wouldn't be there. I would stay there for 1 or 2 nights. Nobody bothered me. Nobody came. Nobody approached me. No gang stalking. Nothing. So, guys, if we form an off-grid TI community together, especially if we have big numbers, like let's say 5 to 10 or 20 people, that would make the gang stalkers hesitate to come and mess with us. Because the reason why they're messing with you right now is because you're by yourself and you're isolated, and they know that they have a superior numbers advantage. But if you're together with a group of people, 5, 10, 20 people, they're not very likely to send people to harass you because they know that a group of people can withstand these people. I mean, imagine this: like we have a community and we're like 20 people, and then some 2 or 3 gang stalkers come. We would be able to fight back. We would be able to push them away. We would be able to confront them and tell them to get the fuck out of there. We would be able to threaten them. You know what I mean? Like imagine 20 people being harassed by 3 people. Like that would never work, right? We would just immediately tell them to leave. And if things get violent, 20 people against 3 people, that's nothing. You know what I mean? That's really easy to deal with. So when they know that like I said, the reason why you're being targeted right now is because you're isolated. If you have a group of people, like 20 people, they're not going to want to mess with you because they know that you can easily confront them, you can push them away, you can fight with them, you can cuss them out, you can tell them to leave. And, there's not really much that they can do to harass an entire group of TIs. Okay, guys? Now I want to talk to you guys about another thing, which is, has somebody ever attempted an off-grid TI group The answer is, guess what? It has been attempted successfully. And I ask you guys, go on YouTube now and type Chris Lasala. Chris Lasala from BDS. And listen to his story about gang stalking. Okay, apparently there's this guy called Chris Lasala, right? And he was gang stalked. And he shared his testimony about gang stalking. And what he decided to do at one point was he was like, okay, I'm being gang stalked, all these people following me, blah, 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 gaslighting, all this kind of stuff. And he said, there's no way that I can live like this for the rest of my life. So what he did was he went to a remote area somewhere in America and he started a community called BDS. It's a religious community, a Christian community, right? He basically started a church, an off-grid church. He is registered, as in officially registered with the government to have the legal credentials to start this group. And he managed to get some community members as well to follow him and to build this community. I think it's like a gated community, so not anybody can just come and enter. And basically, it worked for him. Now he hasn't been dealing with gang stalking for many, many years, at least 6 or 7 or 8 years, right? So the answer to the question is, has anybody attempted to create an off-grid TI community? Yes, Chris Lasala has done it with BDS. I know it's a Christian religious community, but whatever. That's his solution. We don't have to create a Christian religious community. It doesn't have to be like that. But the point of it is, when he created this community, he got away from it all, and he built this community with some community members, and it's a gated community, so nobody else can come in and bother them, right? And he's legally registered with the government as having a church, the BDS church. I think I can't remember exactly, but I think it's mainly focused on like exorcism, getting rid of demons, that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm not religious. I'm not interested in that Christian mythology or whatever, but hey, to each his own, you do whatever you want, right? But the point of it is, it worked. He got gang stalked. He decided, okay, I'm going to go form my own community somewhere away from civilization. He went to a pretty far sort of off-grid location and created this community. And now he has a bunch of people living there, I think like a 50 or something like that. And it's a gated community and nobody comes to harass them or bother them because they're kind of isolated. They live in this location by themselves where not anybody can just come and bother them and harass them. Okay, guys? So again, to reiterate, has somebody ever attempted gang stalking gang stalking? Has anybody attempted to get away from the gang stalking and form an off-grid TI community? Yes, Chris Lasala has done it successfully. And to this day, he does not have to deal or worry about gang stalking anyway. So guys, if you're really worried about this, would it actually work? Yes, it would. Look at Chris Lasala. Look him up. Go on YouTube right now and just type in the search bar, Chris Lasala, BDS. I think he made a video about his experience of gang stalking. He called it, I think the name of the video was Gang Stalking, Gaslighted by the God of this World. As in, he believes that this is all coming from the devil. But anyway, that's his own opinion. But yeah, the point of this video is forming an off-grid TI community is really, really a really, really great idea, and it will solve the problem of gang stalking. As far as we are concerned, what we could do would be pretty fucking easy. All we have to do is get at least 5 people to be interested and to attempt this. What we would need is basically scrape up some money, not too much, just enough to buy cattle. We would need ideally sheep, and we can raise these sheep in this off-grid location. We would make sure they get enough grass. That would be pretty easy to achieve. You just have to herd them and watch them, and make sure there's like a river or some water source nearby that they can drink water from, and for us as well. And we would need like maybe either tents or RVs, sleeping bags, knives, maybe some lighters or something to light fires with, and it can be done. All you really need is food and shelter. This is very easy. Then once in a while, we could take one of the sheep, slaughter them, skin them, and butcher them, and then dry the meat, for example, to preserve it. You have to smoke or dry the meat to preserve it for the coming months, so you can feed all the community members, and that's it. That way, we would be a self-sustaining a group, a self-sustaining TI community. This would be very, very easy to achieve, by the way. Once you get the cattle and all the tools, like the shelter and the tents and the knives and the sleeping bags and all that kind of stuff, it would be very, very easy to do. I have personally actually killed and skinned and butchered sheep before, so I know how to do this. This is not something that is particularly difficult to do, right? And some of you might wonder how you're going to dry up or smoke the meat. Well, all you have to do really, if you're in a forest or in a wilderness, is to dig up a pit, and you start a fire at the bottom of the pit, and you close the pit from the top, and you place the meat somewhere in the middle, and you just let it smoke. Right? It's like a closed environment where there's fire, heat, and smoke, and the meat is gonna dry up and be smoked. And that way you could just package it all up in some plastic bag or something and keep it for the coming days to feed our community members. Okay, guys? Be very easy to do. So once we get the tents and the sleeping bag and the sheep, the cattle, maybe some chicken, maybe some rabbits, could be a lot of things we could do. We could even start growing some potatoes or something like that. That would also be possible. Anyway, guys, this is basically the idea. So back to the initial topic. Has anybody attempted to form an off-grid TI community successful? Yes, Chris Lasala has done it. And now he has been living many years without having to worry about gang stalking. Anyway, guys, I hope that you like this video. And especially I would like that you agree with me as well about these ideas. So if you like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you guys in the next one.